Hi everyone, welcome back to the Reclaimed Ranch. My name is Tara, and sorry this is so late. I've just been really under the weather this week. Still getting over a cold. But here are a few projects that I wanted to get done. This Samsonite suitcase was a pretty old one, pretty dirty, and this mirror and a couple stools. So the first project, we're going to go ahead and dive into that suitcase. I'm going to use my TSP cleaner, clean it up really well. The inside was pretty good shape, so I just left it the way it was. And then we're going to give this a little bit of a makeover, and I have some really cool old postcards, and I want to finish using that postal birds transfer from Redesigned by Prima. But the first thing I want to do is give this a paint job, and I'm using the color Mist in Fusion's line, and that way it'll have its sealer already in there and I won't have to worry about doing that again. I did do 3 coats of this because it's such a light color going over a dark color, but I wanted to get full coverage. And this is just a really pretty light purple color, or light lavender I should say. And I did dry the coats in between with my heat gun. And here are those postcards. So I got some from Louisiana and some from New York, and they were from like the 1950s, I think the stamp was on it. I just thought they were really cool pictures. So I'm gonna make this like a little traveling suitcase and put some of these postcards on there. We're going to decoupage those on, and I'll be using Fusion's decoupage and transfer gel to do that. And I really like this because it's like a thicker consistency, and so it's easier for me to figure out where I need it to go, and seems to work really well. Another really good one is the liquid patina from DIY. That's a little bit more of a liquid consistency, but it still works really well. And here's the rest of that transfer that I'm trying to use up. And it just seemed fitting that it was postal, on a suitcase, so with some birds. And we all know that I like birds. So with the transfers, again, I'm going to go ahead and use that little tool that it comes with and take the backing off, place it where I want it, and just kind of push that down on the tool while I use my finger to pull up the vellum and get that transfer to release. And then you always want to burnish it in after you get that transfer off of the vellum. So just take that vellum and just kind of push it down in and rub it around to make sure it's down all the way. And I'm just going to go ahead and do all sides of this. So I'll let you enjoy some music. So I did go ahead and go over everything again with the transfer gel, but I wanted it seemed like it was just too bright, and I didn't want to put dark wax on it because that would be a little bit too dark. So I used the Sweet Pickins oil wax, dark oil wax, and it gave just enough of the color that I was looking for. Just enough to make it look like it had been around just for a little while. So I think that was the perfect addition to this piece. And this next project is this oval mirror in this piece of wood, and I've had this for quite a while. I've had another one that has not sold. I've had it for a couple of years, in fact. It's just got a crackle finish with some birds on it. And so it just seems like people don't like that look anymore. So I'm going to try and do something completely different with this. We're going to paint it all white, even the mirror. And I noticed immediately there was some tannins coming through from that wood. So I'm going to use the DIY Salvation Solution in clear to try and seal up those tannins and any yellow color that's coming through before I add more paint. And I do add 3 coats of the White Swan from DIY, and it gives me the full coverage that I'm looking for. And you can see here how it instantly turns it yellow. It's a lot more visible once you put that Salvation Solution on. I did want to distress it, and I started out with a baby wipe, but it just wasn't working that well. So I went ahead and got my finger sander out, and that was perfect. And I got this wreath at the Goodwill bins, and I like the design of it. I've never seen a wreath in that form before, and I thought maybe we can just add a little bit of color. So I have this lavender pick from Walmart, and I'm just going to cut it all apart, add some little pieces in here and there, give it some more color, and then we're going to put that onto this piece later. So in that mirror area, I'm going to go in with my Kindest Regards stamp from IOD, and we're going to stamp that into that, because I want to be able to have whoever buys this, it's going to be a wreath holder, and I want them to be able to switch out the wreath for every season. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that end part there, just line it up real slow and easy, and then just push down with one hand and hold it with the other, and then we'll lift up at the same time like that. And you can see I got a little bit on the edge, but I just wiped that off. So this is that 50-50 of Big Top sealer and water in a spray bottle, and I didn't want to smudge that ink, so I did that first before I went in with the Big Top sealer completely. I dried it really well with my heat gun as well. So I sealed it up with the Big Top, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little hook up at the top, and that's going to be able to hold the wreaths, and they can change it out for every season. So that's why I kind of went with the Kindest Regards stamp, is because it pretty much goes with anything. I do want to pre-drill my hole first. Just makes it a lot easier for this little cup hook to go into. And I'm going to put it down in there, and then we have a wreath holder. And the last project is this pair of stools that I got at a yard sale. They were $10 each, and I'm just going to go ahead and disassemble the entire top part. And I'm going to paint the legs of it and use some fabric for a new top. So we're going to use Fusion's French Eggshell. It's a perfect spring color, and goes with a lot of things in the cottagecore kind of era. And I do end up doing 2 coats of this. I love using the Fusion because it has its primer, sealer, and paint all in one, so I don't have to do that extra step. And once it cures completely in 3 weeks. It will be hard as a rock, and it'll be water resistant. It'll be UV resistant. So not that these are going to go outside, but you never know. And this is that fabric I did on a stool a little while back in my videos, and I had a ton of it extra, so I wanted to use that up, and I found that that blue little flower part is perfect with that French eggshell color. So it was a win-win, and I'm just going to use some spray adhesive to get the foam back on there, put a little bit more batting on, and we're going to cut it down, and I'm going to use my stapler to just kind of go around and staple it into place, trying to keep least amount of wrinkles as possible. It would have been easier to take the legs off, but it was actually nailed on, so I didn't want to disassemble it completely like that, just because it would have been hard. Here are the projects. This is that old mirror now turned into a wreath hook, and the 2 stools, and then my suitcase with the old postcards and the postal birds. So let me know what your thoughts are on this week's projects. So sorry it's late again, but I'm just still kind of out of breath and trying to get your guys' content out as much as I can. And we'll see you again on Tuesday with some new projects. I went to the Goodwill bins today. Took all my energy to do that, but I'll get that video up and then we'll do some flips from those. I hope you have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.